So, ladies and gentlemen, there has been a rumour floating around that James Gunn has already selected his new Superman actor. They were all suitably terrible, and he has now responded, debunking it. But we'll have a look, because we'll have a look. This is, of course, it's hot off the heels of Henry Cavill's Superman being sacked off, which is a shame, because he's great, and the replacements, unless they're an unknown, don't seem particularly great, if you ask me. But let's take a look at this article from Bounding Into Comics. So DC Studios head James Gunn recently responded to a rumour claiming that he had already chosen an actor to play Superman in his upcoming film. Now, obviously, most people who know anything about anything will know that that is absolute bollocks. So it's important to note, ladies and gents, that you can probably debunk a lot of those things. Disregard anyone that claims that they've already cast a Superman actor, because this is so early in the development stages, it's unbelievable. So, Gunn previously indicated that a Superman solo film was part of his initial slate of films for upcoming DC Comics projects. It seems to be a priority. A priority in general for DC, because David Zaslav said it on an earnings call that it was a priority. And sort of lamented the fact that there had been no Superman film for X, Y, and Z amount of years. He seemingly discounted Man of Steel. But anyway, in reference to that, he wrote on Twitter, among those on the slate is Superman. In the initial stages, our story will be focusing on an earlier part of Superman's life, so the character will not be played by Henry Cavill. Now, he's since come out and said that it's not an origin movie, but it is, because this will be him meeting Lois Lane, working at the Daily Planet. These are all very much origin elements, which became part of Superman as an identity. So, he can debunk that it's an origin story however much he likes, but it is an origin story. If you are showing his first meeting with Lois Lane, that's part of his origin. If you're showing his early days at the Daily Planet, that's part of his origin. That just simply is, because those are facets of Superman, and they make up his character, not only of Superman but also Clark Kent. They're very important facets, and if you're showing the inception of those elements in his life, then that simply is the definition of an origin. So again, he claimed that the film would focus on an earlier part of Superman's life. He also informed one Twitter user that it would not be an origin story. Again, but it would be. That is an origin story, because no one wants that. Most people no one wants that. No one wants that at all. So nearly a month later, an anonymous rumour published by Hollywood gossip site Des Moines on Instagram claimed that a certain Australian actor was on a Netflix rom-com trilogy and is currently on an HBO teen show, is being looked at for the role of the new Man of Steel. So this is Des Moines just posting absolute bollocks, basically. Literal just bollocks. So social media users deduced that the anonymous actor in question might be Jacob Elordi, who currently plays Nate Jacobs on HBO's Euphoria. This rumour made its way to a Superman fan page on Twitter, and they of course tweeted this out. Jacob Elordi is rumoured to be James Gunn's Superman for the DCU. And this is this is the guy mocked up. Looks fucking atrocious, if you ask me. Real bad. Real bad. Goodness me. I'm very glad that this was debunked. Look, I'm sure this guy might be a good actor. I'm not familiar with him. I've heard Euphoria is very good. It's not something I'm particularly interested in. And if he's a part of Euphoria, and is sort of, an up-and-comer, great, cool. But he doesn't have the chin for it. He doesn't have the jaw for it. It looks too much like a pyramid. It's too pointy. No. Simply no. Maybe it's dodgy Photoshop, I don't know. But he doesn't look right. He looks terrible. So like I said, I'm glad that this has been debunked by James Gunn, which we'll take a look at his response in a minute. But this is an awful pick. Anyone who thought that this was good, you're high and you need to lay off the crack pipe, quite frankly, because this will make people laugh out of the theatre. So Gunn responded to the rumour, writing on Twitter, "My thoughts are no one has been cast as Superman yet. Casting, as is almost always the case with me, will happen after the script is finished, or close to finished, and it isn't. We'll announce a few things in not too long, but the casting of Superman won't be one of them." Now I think that's interesting, but that potentially just goes on to explain that yes, this is so in the early days yet that he simply won't be able to announce the casting of Superman at this stage because he's not even done with the script yet, or even close to. So, this won't be one of the first projects that he's working on. It just won't be. Now, I am curious as to see what character they choose to relaunch DC to the public. Because make no mistake, this is almost like a brand new brand launch. And this is very important, actually. It's really important that they choose the right individuals to lead that brand relaunch. And yeah, Superman you'd think would be one of them, most recognizable, along with Batman, for instance. So maybe it's going to be Batman. But I would be eagerly anticipating this relaunch and first announcements, just because I think it's going to be fascinating to see who they choose to relaunch it now. So, Gunn previously stated he would provide an update on the DCU slate at the beginning of the new year. He informed his Twitter followers, "Peter and I have a DC slate ready to go, which we couldn't be more over the moon about. We'll be able to share some exciting information about our first projects at the beginning of the new year." Well, we're midway through that, mate, and you haven't teased anything yet, except for, teasing that you were going to do it and haven't done it, which sucks. Sil Abdul, a scooper, recently stated that he was informed that none of Gunn's slate is currently slated to go into production this year. Of course not. And he noted that maybe Gunn is hiding that, and that's why it's not leaking out. Sure. It could be possible, when Gunn mentions the first couple projects, that it could be a DC series, TV shows, or something like that to tide us over until he's ready to make that Superman film. It's still a brand relaunch, which is interesting that they have essentially no one to do that yet. In fact, Sil Abdul was told not to expect any new DCU productions, to not expect any of these to start production until the end of 2023 or early 2024. That's not being a scooper, that's just basic film knowledge. Of course it wouldn't go into production that soon. Obviously. The fuck are you on about? If anyone thought that they were going to go into production that soon, that suddenly, you don't know anything about how films get made. It's just simply not possible to do that. I mean, it is, but not with everything that's happened with DC. So if you don't start anything new in production until the beginning of 2024, then you're not seeing any new projects to come out until 2025, which is fine. I don't see the issue with that either. But there you have it, ladies and gents. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. I'm very glad Jacob Elordi is not going to be cast. I think he's a terrible pick, but that's my personal thoughts on that. So drop your thoughts down below. I guess inform everyone whether you are high and on crack, like the individuals that seem to like Jacob Elordi is or are. Anyway, cheers ladies and gents. Hit subscribe to the channel, give the video a like, and please do check out the second channel, Mistake Reviews Live Archives, down below in the description box. Take care.